Here we are today with Fabio Cianferoni, the new editor-in-chief of the European Journal of Taxonomy. He's an entomologist and researcher at the Italian National Research Council, CNRR, and Research Institute of Terrestrial Ecosystem, IRET in Florence, Italy. Welcome and thank you for accepting our invitation.
Thank you.
It's always hard to enter into function, especially after a 10 year of another editor-in-chief, Con Martens. So what are your feelings and expectations and plans for the following years for EJT?
Thank you. First of all, I would say that I'm very honored to be the new editor-in-chief of European Journal of Taxonomy. And yes, I took the place of Ken Martens of the Royal Belgian Institute of Natural Sciences, and I didn't have the pleasure of knowing him personally, but I can say that the first 10 years of the journal, he did a very great job, as well as all the EJT team with which I work today. And for the next years, we will try to implement the working group, the editors of the journal, both the topical and the section editor, in order to enlarge the team and have more help in the management of such a large international journal. Indeed, EJT publishes more than 80 articles, more or less, and several thousand pages a year. So it is a very big journal.
Can you explain us how the pandemic affected the job?
This pandemic has created problems in every sector, as we know. Even taxonomy has suffered, obviously, and since there are problems with travel and therefore with missions in the field, especially to some countries, but also due to limited access to the collections, for example, in the museums that hold the specimen to be studied. On the other hand, the pandemic has forced many people to remain isolated, so the taxonomists have not stopped their work, and they are continuing to make their fundamental contribution to the knowledge of biodiversity, the biodiversity of our planet. Unfortunately, it is a race. It is a race against time before so many regions are destroyed irreparably. And the species that live there become extinct before being known. Diseases are really a problem. Yes, this is a huge problem, because losing biodiversity, we lose the function of the ecosystem, of the cycles, and we lose also our richness in terms of life in our world, and we don't know also what will happen with this. So I think the future is in the future we have absolutely to try to stop this destruction.
Is digitalization and technology in general a possible help for helping taxonomists doing their job, both in a pandemic moment and in a, say, normal moment?
Yes, digitization is without doubt the future. in this field, but not only in this field. The digitization of the specimens will help taxonomists to be able to carry out a large part of the work, even without being able to physically access to the collection, to go into the museums. For example, the complete digitization of the types. The types are the specimens that are selected to serve as a reference point when an organism is first named. This will be a very important challenge in the coming years. Also, the digitization of the specialized literature is already in a much more advanced stage compared with the previous one. This helps taxonomists, but not only taxonomists, to be able to read scientific articles and books without having to physically access libraries. This makes the work much easier and faster. So this is very important in the future. Yes.
Okay. Well, a little question about you now. Was curious to say how was the young Fabio, how the passion for taxonomy started for you personally?
Since I was a child, I have always been interested in nature, and in particular in animals. Already as a boy, I had fun inserting animals, the animal's name, in a general classification that I found in books. So I started very early with taxonomy, but I discovered the real taxonomy only much later in university. And from that moment, I always continued to deal with it until today, both as an entomologist and now as editor of the European Journal of Taxonomy.
Okay, well, I think this young Fabio is proud of the Fabio today, who is leading the journal. So thank you for being with us, and good luck for